Hey guys, here we are, wisdom number 48, Me Too and Manbassadors. So this is obviously potentially a contentious one, but it's one of these, the Me Too movement, when it first sort of came to be, it was definitely something that caught my attention very, very quickly before I think any of us realised where the conversation was going. And, you know, I shared my experiences as a child from basically from puberty onwards, and it became pretty apparent very quickly that there was pretty much no single woman on the planet that hadn't been harassed or interfered with in some way, some more serious than others. And I think it was a bit of a wake-up call. I remember I then wrote a fairly extensive blog and was invited to publish an article in an online publication. And I remember my husband reading it and just being so shocked that, you know, that sort of stuff just went on. And, it, you know, like, I wasn't one of the bad ones, right? But what's bad? You know, what's good? So it was interesting. And I'm glad we've had the conversation. I think we needed to have it. And I think it's a good stepping point to move forward, but I think it's the next steps that we take that matter. So after I published the article and published a more extensive blog, I was invited to host a pretty serious panel on Me Too for a business audience. And one of the first questions I asked was, has any man in this room changed their behaviour since the Me Too movement started? And one of the guys, a very senior VP working for a bank, he basically said, I don't take the females that work for me out for lunch anymore. And I said, but you take the men out for lunch? And he's like, yes. But he felt really uncomfortable, so he was changing his behaviour. And for me, it was just such a great example of where this conversation could go wrong, because if you don't take the girls out for lunch, obviously you're going to hurt their careers. But then on the other side, it's men who have not done anything wrong, changing their behaviour because they're worried that anything that they can do now could be misconstrued into something that they obviously have never had the intention to be. And so, you know, we've watched the conversation evolve. We've watched, you know, there is a stream of thought from the female community, and it's very much a man-hating perspective, which I don't like. Some of the greatest friends I have in my life, some of the greatest people in my life are men. I love the balance between men and women is something that I value and honour, and I don't think any unbalance between us is a good thing to be pushing forward at all. So I'm not an anti-man person at all, never will be. But I do think a lot of men are feeling quite fearful, they're unsure, and they don't really know what to do next. And it's probably the thing that concerns me the most. If half of the population starts feeling fearful about any of their behaviours and how they could be interpreted, then we could actually be creating a larger problem than the one we were trying to deal with in the first place, because we could unleash more violence. And we've seen, you know, all around the world, especially in developed countries, the rise of violence towards women in the home, the amount of women who are dying in the home. I mean, you know, we're getting to epidemic proportions in this area. So we have some really serious societal issues that we need to deal with. But I think how we move forward together is what is going to matter the most. When I think of men and women, you know, I think the vast majority of us we're great. You know, we're comfortable in our sex. We're comfortable with each other. You know, when we're young, it can be flirtatious. When we get older, it's it's constantly evolving and changing. But within each of our sexes, there are people who they are the power players. They're the manipulators. They're the ones that who are really the danger within the human psyche, and they're the ones that are doing the wrong thing. And to me, Me Too was about really bringing that to the surface, as well as, you know, just saying to guys, yeah, you know what, it's time to clean up your act, you know, and, you know, the whole locker room talk type scenario. I think moving forward, where we can be respectful towards each other is such an important thing, and it's such an opportunity that we can embrace, and allowing ourselves to be pushed in this other direction, I think, would be a really sad way, because it's not moving forward. We'd be taking huge steps backwards. Sorry. So I think more women need to step up, more women need to own their voice, and I've talked about some of my other wisdoms, but, you know, become the role models that the next generation of young women need. I think we need to do it. I think we need to say no more nonsense. When we see something, we call it out. If we see inappropriate behaviours, we respond to it, we believe each other, we support each other, and we back each other. So I think women have definitely got to step into that and into their voice. But I also think we need Manbassadors, and these are the men who fill my life. They're amazing men. They are men. They're strong. They're masculine. They're powerful, but they're not manipulative. They're not looking at getting one over anyone else. They're not looking at downtrodden anybody. They're the best of men. And, you know, in my work, one of the things that I do when I travel all over Asia is I'm looking for the Manbassadors in the room to go on social media as business leaders and to talk as a Manbassador to other men, to help men understand that what it takes to be a future man. What does that look like, you know? When I was younger, I hated gentlemen. If a man opened a door for me, I'd tell him to fuck off, right? Now I'm absolutely delighted that my two boys are being raised to be gentlemen, because it's important to my husband, and I've grown to value it, and also to value the fact that it's not demeaning to me if somebody is a gentleman towards me. So that was a big learning curve for me, I've got to tell you, accepting the gentleman in my life. So I want to thank all the guys that did that for me. But, you know, men, women, we're the vast majority of us, we're awesome. You know, we're good people, we're doing our best, we're trying to work it out. And we can't let this Me Too movement be hijacked either on the male side or the female side in its negative path. We've got to come together and say, let's all clean our act up, let's all do better, let's all be more respectful towards each other. And let's be proud of who we are. You know, be proud of being a woman, be proud of being a man. And so I call on all the great blokes out there, go and be a Manbassador, go and show them what it's about. I'm watching you guys emerge, and it's a beautiful thing to watch. And it's a manly thing too. The most beautiful men, the most gentle men are the strongest men. And I want to encourage you guys to be Manbassadors. So there you go. Me Too and Manbassadors. Something I really care about. I'm watching this conversation a lot. And I want to be part of the community that's driving the right conversation, so that we become better, not fractured. And it's the fracturing of our sexes that concerns me the most. So Wisdom 48, Me Too and Manbassadors.